She walks out of the room, and this is where they just showed their ass, Nine. I mean, the kids are literally not being serious people. There's a time and a place, Nine, and this wasn't the time nor the place.
Bro,
Nine, this scene here, I thought he didn't hit it. He kind of grabbed her and not pushed her, but like no, get back. Like it was very aggressive towards not only a woman, but your sister and a pregnant woman as well. It's like all that stuff.
That's fine.
And I mean, Nine, man, the scene is just so it's almost very devastating because again, we just saw them kind of coming together, working together. Goes back to Tom's quote about if you have information, just store it and no one to throw it out there. But this, I don't know if you throw this out there. And my goodness, Nine,
that for real.
I can't let you be the CEO because you killed someone. What do you mean you killed someone? Well, which one? He says, which one? What do you mean, which one? How many people have you killed, Ken? No. I mean, I never killed anyone. I just said that. I was in the moment. I just wanted us to bond. Wait, you wanted us to bond? And that's when Roman got off. I was like, wait, you lied about killing someone to be a family? Nine, I don't even know where to start, man. I'm just like jaws on the ground. I'm like, well, what's about to happen right now?
That like made me despise Kendall. Like in that moment, I ain't never been like that pissed off at him because, listen, he doesn't even care at that point. He's not even like he's not willing. He's not even seeing clearly, right? He's seeing red right now. And when you lied about that, well, first off, she said that very loud. I was like, hold on. Can you shut the fuck
kill someone? Yeah. She's joking, guys. She's talking about Call of Duty.
Right. I was like, is there like a conference phone in there? Like, I hope you're not on the intercom right now.
Right, guys. We're on call. We're on the phone, guys.
Again, he's not willing to, either you did or you didn't. And I mean, we all know what happened. We all know that, he was a part of that.
Part of someone dying. Yeah.
Part of that.
It wasn't intentional, but it happened. And yeah.
But again, like all of the cracks, and he's like, yeah, now you're just looking like a scared little boy right now.
Yep.
They are actually like he's being like the biggest baby in the world.
Yeah.
Like the biggest child.
And this might just be the Kendall fan in me. You think about season 1, you think about all the stuff he's been through. You think about he's been through the most in the show. If we're, putting my Ken fandom aside, he has been through the most in the show. So you kind of understand where this childish behavior is coming from. Like, this is mine, having this temper tantrum, but it's still a level of like accountability that needs to be had in this moment that he didn't take.
Exactly.
And like you said, Nine, the embarrassment in this scene of him just literally not even knowing what to say. Like, no, I didn't kill anyone. I made it up. No, it didn't happen. It's just like, wow, we are watching the destruction right in front of our faces, man. Because honestly, now he's seeing his whole legacy, the whole dad telling me since I'm 7, I'm going to be running the company, dad giving me the company, but taking it from under me being a little quiet puppy doll all of season 2 to finally getting ahead of my dad to now having this moment, all for it to break down right in front of him. Nine, my goodness. And it doesn't stop there, Nine, because it gets violent, as you said.
Yeah.
Shiv tries to leave. He pushes her back. Ken is like, hey, man, or Rome telling him, calm down. It's not only, she's pregnant, man. What is wrong with you? So, man, this dude was bad. He went cold. He went John Wick. I don't know who he went. Michael Myers. He tries to crush his brothers. I mean, he
Undertaker shit. Michael Myers, Undertaker. And I mean, Roman said that line too. Like, man, they they really came after every single thing that Kendall, like, probably deep down been feeling about himself. I mean, 1, you got your sister be like, well, you killed somebody. 2, you got Roman be like, yeah, you got kids, but really they're not, they're not blood. I'm like, wow.
Your bloodline. What do you mean?
Wow. And
he says one is a buy-in, the other is a half Reva, half some filing cabinet guy, right?
Okay.
So
like a donor.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, probably
exactly.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, that just the way he phrased it.
Ooh. And 9, this reminds me of the Dark Knight with Batman. getting when Joker got under his skin.
Mhm.
He just can't control himself, and he's smiling as he's getting like, look at Rome's face, bro.
Yeah. When
That's
in the interrogation room.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, man.
Yeah.
Whew.
Man.
And this is that thing where your closest family or friends know you the best, and they can hurt you the worst because
Mhm.
they have all that on you. I mean, yeah, it's like levels to it. That's just
Mhm.
something you don't say, man. But it doesn't stop there. He has even more of a temper tantrum. He's screaming, he's yelling. You know, Siobhan eventually leaves the room, and she ultimately goes into the boardroom and says she's the seventh vote. But meanwhile, as you mentioned earlier, Rome tells his brother, like, "Come on, man, we're not essentially just saying we're not serious. I'm nothing. You're nothing. Shiv's nothing. We're and just pretty much says what the dad said. We're a
Again,
joke.
like getting
We're
back
we're
to
backup band.
that accountability, like in his head, he's like, as he's walking Shiv walk out to give her vote, he's like, all right, how do I come up with something like really quick? Think. I'm
Yeah,
like, dude, you're already cooked. You
yeah, man.
cooked. And the downfall was so hard. That was difficult. That was difficult to watch. Yeah.
And then, and not to backtrack too far back, but Ken in the same scene, he tells them, tries to again sympathize with his siblings, like, guys, you don't know how much this means to me. Like, if I don't get this, I might die.
Yeah.
Um, and even him telling them that didn't stop them from doing what they did, man.
He did. He
We
did die a
we
little bit.
whew, he did, no, for sure. Like there's pieces of all these characters that will never be recovered in this
Mm-hmm.
room. And I think that, again, we're never going to know the follow-up to this, but this is the last time I think that we're going to ever see all three of them in a room together.
Mm-hmm.
But we end with Siobhan says the seventh vote. Ken's going back to, it was almost, and again, rewatching this scene and thinking about season one when Ken found out that his dad was going to end up taking the company back, and just the stillness, the coldness, the emptiness of like his whole life has been built up to this one moment to be taken away from him, as you had mentioned earlier, not just from anyone, but from someone of his own blood,
Mm-hmm.
taking it from under him,
Mm-hmm.
goes in the elevator. And then Rome is left behind to take the most uncomfortable photo op that I've seen in a very long time. At first, I thought Jerry was in the room. That's what I thought. But then when he said I don't want to be in the room with him and this, but like we find out that it is Manson, and it goes back to one of
Yo.
his Academy Award winning scenes in episode 5 when they were on top of the hill or top of the mountain, and when Lucas said to me, "Oh, you effed up." Lucas got the last
You're
laugh.
right.
He ended
Yeah,
up on top.
yeah. Ooh, and you know what? I thought while they're taking a picture, I thought we were about to like see Ken
Come out of
drop
nowhere.
off like no,
Chill,
I'm not
chop
talking about
everyone.
like off the roof, we'll just see him
Oh, like in the background, you see a
yeah, in the
body drop.
background.
Oh,
I was like I thought they were about to like have some Ken photobombing them off the roof. Yeah.
ooh, that would
um
have been
yeah,
dark.
that'll probably be a little too much, but I was getting the sense. I was like, what's Kendall going to do? Like, I really, right when he was like pressing that elevator button, I was like, ooh, this isn't looking good. This isn't
Going
looking
down
good.
to floor zero, going down to the basement, going down to hell. It's
Mm-hmm.
oof. Yeah, man. It's and look at Ebba, by the way. It makes me even think about it again, Nine, about the games that Lucas was playing. I don't even going back to the whole blood ex-girlfriend. That might have been a goddamn lie. That
Mm-hmm.
might have just been a whole game that he was just playing. Look at the man smile. And I
Yeah.
love, by the way, also I love the scene. Just to kind of backtrack a bit, we're seeing Hugo. Hey Tom, congratulations! Frank and Greg kissing the ring and saying
Mm.
that if they're going to stay or go. It's just seeing all these people
I was
kiss the ring
always
at this
pulling
moment.
for you.
I was always pulling for
I was, yeah. All of a sudden, he's the goat.
you. He's a legend, right? And
All of
then
a
even
sudden,
to go back to the Disgusting Brothers, Greg has found, or Tom has found what he's going to keep, and that's his little Greg toy.
right? Yeah.
I'm going to keep you along for the ride, kid.
Mr. Wasabi himself.
Mr. Wasabi and LaCroix himself is now an item owned by Tom, the new CEO of Waystar-Gojo Company. Wow, nine. We take the photos. Rome goes out. He has his little moment that he's, sipping his little martini. He's like, "Hey, whatever. I'm gonna get my millions and just go wherever the wind takes me." And then it leads us to the last kind of shot of this season, man, and that's Kendall, like, I mean, as we wrap it up, Nine, I mean, and we'll kind of summarize it to just final thoughts on the show and the series, but just on a capping off point of this show, we started the show with Kendall, and everyone brings up the whole setting the scene up for him taking over the reins, and the whole shot of the theme is Logan behind him looking upon his disciples. Oh, and by the way, the line of like Jesus and the disciples and Judas in the room by Lucas, hilarious line. Yeah, man, we end with this shot here again. Like I said, it was leading up to the show talking about how it would be dope if we ended the show with the last shot of the theme song, which is Logan sitting at the table, the head of the table from behind of him, leading the way. And there's been all these scenes behind Ken showing that, symbolizing he's going to be the one to take over, but obviously he doesn't. He ends with this shot with him looking behind and him not having anything to look forward to, just a blank slate of emptiness and ocean.
Literally, like, it is such an interesting way to it's such an interesting way for them to end it.
Yeah,
because and I thought it was like very eerie and interesting to see Colin was just there. He was just like in the background, just walking behind. And I think it's like, that thing you just couldn't take accountability for right now. He's the one that really knows what's up too.
Yeah.
So that's good. Like, it's like a metaphor, like that's going to still be following you.
Right.
You get nothing but this following you.
And to be honest too, I think Colin, because we saw him having some emotional breakdowns when he found out that his boss, but also friend, died. I think in a way, Nine, that Colin also knows that he can't leave this kid alone for Logan's sake, because if it was up to Ken being by himself, I wouldn't be surprised if he hopped over this gate and went for a swim, bro.
Right.
So I think Colin is like actually kind of doing his dad a favor and looking out for this kid, because he's on, dark times, man. I don't think he'll ever recover. Which brings me to the last point before we wrap it up, Nine. Speaking of legacy, man, what will you remember from Succession to where we started to where we ended? What's the legacy of this show for you, Nine?
The bars.
Some
of the best bars in all of some of the best bars that HBO's got on. And I thought it was kind of interesting that the show itself has such a unique style, like really mob mentality type thing.
Yeah. No, I mean, I couldn't agree with you more, Nine. This show, when you think about it, if you're pitching this to someone, it's a bunch of corporate heads talking about corporate stuff in rooms and offices, but it's some of the most riveting stuff you'll see on TV. As you mentioned, Jesse Armstrong is a master pensman on writing this show, but it's another level to write these incredible scripts and all that stuff, but it's another level to have the right people saying the lines. And going back to just things to take away from, the performances, Now, for me, is something that the legacy number one. And I want to go back to what you said, because I'm a big score head. I love a good score. Like, a score is just as important to me as cinematography, acting, writing, directing. A score really sets the tone, the mood, and that opening theme song to me, it's like up there with Game of Thrones and anything you think of. I put that up there. It sets the tone for the episode. I love the theme. It's like you said, goated. But then going back to the legacy of performances. Jeremy Strong, Kieran McCulkin, Sarah Snook, Brian Cox. I mean, the list goes on and on. Like, Nine, I can't think of one bad episode in this series. I can't think of one weak link in the cast. Everyone, whether it was a Hugo, a Jerry, a Carolina, a Carrie, a Greg. I mean, the list goes on, man. Everyone brought their A game. Like, they came to play. I think and I was watching the after show with Jesse Armstrong. He even said he doesn't think he'll be able to write another show like this again. Like, and that's just the immortality of like, this is my greatest, this is my masterpiece. There's nothing more I can do.
Like, what more do you want from me?
Right. Well, you know how to entertain. So it takes a lot for someone to say that too, just because, I mean, I'm sure that if I'm Max, you giving this man a blank check, give us the next Succession, sir. And he's just like,
like, what? I mean, I'll be interested to see like what he does. I would like if it's not another show, I would definitely like to see if he writes a movie,
like a movie. For sure, man.
Where he's gonna put his hat into. But man,
100%
legend.
Legend, man. This show is, I'll have to think about it for not only weeks, months, probably years, but like when I make that definitive, like this is the greatest show of all time. Like there's the Breaking Bads of the world, there's the Wires, there's the Sopranos, there's for me, Mad Men, The Office, Living Single, stuff like
Atlanta.
that. Will Smith, Atlanta, Fresh Prince, Martin,
yeah.
Atlanta. I mean, there's just so many great shows, and I think I'm not putting it anywhere, but this is a top tier show of all time for me.
Yeah.
Again, 9, I'm not a big talky person as far as like shows that are just talk, corporate rooms, bunch of, jargon about politics. And it's like, that sounds boring to me, but it's the writing of the show that made it so intriguing. It's the performances, it's the direction, it's just the shakiness of the camera that make you feel like you're in the room with them, and it's just it's a go-to show, bro. It really is
fantastic.
We talked about it last week. 9, the final question I have for you, man: did they stick the landing? Is this a finale that feels satisfying for you?
They did. And we're gonna ask the audience, and I want to see what people are saying. But I think this is good. Like, I don't go back and watch Game of Thrones after that finale. I've really no interest in going back and watching the show. For this, I'm still interested in picking up on new things. I'm going to give it a rewatch. I can't wait to give it a rewatch. And that is probably like the baseline. I don't think I can write or come up with anything I would have rather wanted to see. Right. So I think, it gets a thumbs up. It gets a thumbs up from me.
Yeah, man. Same for me, man. Again, I'm going to have to rewatch this episode. Because I think you mentioned it last week that some of the best, or I was on some discussion of someone mentioning that most of the time the season finales sometimes end up being the best episode of the entire series. I don't know if I'm there quite yet with this particular episode. Like I do think, episode 3 is something that stands out to me still with the death of Logan, the funeral that we got last week, the politic, Mencken being the president episode. This season was great.
Fantastic, yeah.
Yeah, this season was just hit after hit after hit. So it's going to be hard to where I replace this finale amongst the other 3 and where I replace this episode amongst the other 9. But, I would ultimately say I feel more pleased and satisfied. Of course, we mentioned there was some, things that weren't answered, but I don't think they ultimately mattered as much as
Right. It would have been nice if we got, everything, but again, it's got to end somehow or sometime.
Right.
But I doubt, that's funny that you say that, because there's some really great moments in this episode.
Yeah.
But will I be saying it's the best of the season? No, I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
There's some really great episodes in this one. But I don't think it's going to be like a polarizing ending. I don't think there's people that are going to be like, nah, this ending ruined the show for me.
I agree. I agree.
We'll see.
We'll see, what the legacy of this show will be in the coming days, weeks, months, and years. Thank you for y'all exit tonight's conversation. Hit that thumbs up. Leave a thought in the comment section. And man, end of an era. And we have to say goodbye to the Roy family. And
hello, Tom Wamsgans.
Hello, Tom. I can't believe they did it. They did it, y'all. We're going to end on that note. Shout out to Tom. Peace out, everyone.